and I have some amazing guests here. I'm in Southern California once again. We're running it back. We had an opportunity to sit down a couple of weeks ago, but we're here again. And a little bit of a quieter environment, a more relaxed environment. Last time there was a lot of chaos around us, a little bit more intimate. Exactly. Exactly. So I'm super excited though to be able to sit down and talk to both of you. And we have Puna here as well, one of the main organizers of the Pacific Sovereignty Run, which is taking place here in about a week, June 17th. I mean, it's coming fast, and it's coming.
What we're about to,
Man, you said it best right there. It is an exciting events right here, man. I just get worked up for them, and I know for me, being able to come out and meet people like yourselves and to meet, up with the brothers from the Pacific Savages and to see other Islander clubs coming together, nonprofits coming together, to see Puna do her thing and see the fruits of all your labor. It's a really,
because of Puna.
It's a beautiful thing. No, Puna, you do a lot, Puna. You gotta, you need to get your accolades here too, because we can't do what we do without the help of so many people. And there's a lot that goes into something like the PSR, and that's why we're here. We want to promote it and talk about it. But before we do that, man, let's let you guys introduce yourself. We want you to tell us who you are, where you come from, and our audience might find interesting.
So my name is Arnoldo. I usually go by Mano Kiai. It's a name that was given to me by my brother, Kimo. We're representing Indigenous Kiai, and we are, a little bit of background on myself. I have a Cajita native from Sinaloa, Mexico, and then I have a bit of Apache from my mom's side as well. I think I mentioned before that part of the family is a lot more distant, so I'm not able to get as in touch with the roots that we have with them. A lot of us have that experience. Luckily, we have a brother, David Red Eagle, that's a part of Horse Hills Apache, and he's going to actually help me get in touch with that part and learn a little bit more about that. And then that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's it's kind of, I feel kind of bad because Eagle was here with us last time, and yeah, man, he's cool. He's just a really good person, and I didn't even know we were following each other on Instagram, and that was cool to be able to talk with him and his story. Is he going to make it to the PSR?
He will. He's going to make that trek from Oklahoma.
Outstanding, all the way from Fort Sill Apache, all the way from Oklahoma to this event here that we're obviously really excited to promote. Want to thank you for joining the show, obviously, and what you do for your organization, what you do for our communities. Absolutely. And then your good friend right here.
Oh, yeah, my brother right there.
Your good brother.
Oh, Isa.
Yeah.
So my name is Kimo, Kanakamoli in Filipino. We are Indigenous Kiai. Big thing of what we do is to spread, the love of what was given to us. And as we talk, you get to know more about us. But we were given a gift from Keokua, from God, and it is our time to really come out and share those gifts that we used to hide. And when I say gifts, some people might know it as shamans, some people might know them as curanderos, but we're just all healers. And for a very long time, and I know a lot of Indigenous people know that these things were passed down from generation to generation. Sometimes it was lost, sometimes it was tainted. But I was actually born and raised here on the mainland, but was taught still the kuleana, which is the responsibilities of our family and what we give to the land. And with Wubaimana and Puna, we have worked together and really pushed us to really come out of the woodwork, share who we are. And with PSR, it's like a time for us to really give back and not hide anymore, not be scared of what we do or what we say or the gifts that was given to us, because it's not us. We're just middlemen. We're just a vessel. The gifts are for the people that need it. So PSR is going to be, a very great thing to bring together with the savages backing and bringing in all the people that need the healing and
Yeah.
all the indigenous. It's this is what we're here for.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I've seen you all online, on social media and whatnot, and for whatever reason, I thought, man, someday I'm gonna meet these people. I don't know, but someday I'm gonna run into them, and y'all look very interesting to me. Anyway, just something was just telling me that we were gonna get to know each other eventually. We were eventually gonna link up, right? And
Spirit guides the way.
Exactly,
Spirit
and
guides the way. That's all we listen to.
and then sure enough, like, man, whatever it is that was telling me that, and this was a long time ago. This is months ago. And then, of course, Puna puts together an event where we all came together, got to sit down and talk. And, but yeah, it was really, really interesting to me thinking back. And I was like, man, I knew it. I knew I was going to meet these gentlemen. And you guys are, just great to talk to. And, like I said, I'm just really happy to be able to share another conversation with you, and for you all to be able to share more about your organization and what you do. I love the fact that, obviously it's indigenous based, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And we're not talking about these colonizing borders. We're breaking those down here.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just talking about our communities and the things that we've always done and the things that we've always shared with one another, which is, a spiritual outlook, a connection, ecosystems, our homelands. And, we've seen, our communities come together, right, to support one another.
Right, definitely. We take things that, some elders think that we say things different or it's the wrong way, but we have to adapt with the generation and what's coming. And if we don't adapt and being able to communicate with the new generation and new understanding, we're never going to grow. We're stuck in what was the old ways. It's not that we don't bring back the old ways, we do, because that's why we're sitting here. That's why we have the gifts that we have to share, which is sacred. But at the same time, we have to share what's sacred and share with the community, share with the people, because regardless of anything, this is indigenous lands. This is indigenous lands.
That's right.
This is the lands that we're here on. This is the lands that are sacred, and we have to share with everybody. Regardless if they're Kanakamoli, regardless if they're, Native American, regardless if they're Pinoy, we got to take care of just community as well.
Yeah.
So there's no color lines in what we do as an organization. Yes, we carry the name indigenous. That's the main part. Kia'i means protector in Hawaii. So we took that, but really it's just a protector of the indigenous and being able to share the gifts and what's sacred.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you explaining that. And, this movement that you're seeing, not just here in the mainland, but all over the islands, it's really beautiful to see indigenous people coming together. And I think that's what makes your organization unique, because you're breaking down those boundaries and you're educating people about the connection that we all have, right? As indigenous people.
As indigenous people, if we really, it could be a long topic, but the thing is, it's society, Western culture breaks down timelines, but those timelines are very incorrect. All indigenous people, if we're going to talk Hawaii and the Polynesian people and the Native Americans, Dr. B, you and I know in our research, we've already connected, but that's never told.
That's right. That's a good point. I mean, I always tell people, especially my students, that, one of the stereotypes is that, we all lived in isolation from one another, and we were just barely scratching out a living, barely just making it. Stone Age people, barbarians, savages, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, we had these really powerful social institutions that allowed us to, in some cases, travel from island to island, from island to mainland, to what we call the mainland. And there's a deep connection that we share, not just in the way that we look at the world, but we've shared our cultures. And we've been sharing our cultures since time immemorial.
That's true. Very true. And, going a little bit into it, we could tell, as people want to research and talk about this, we'll not go too much in depth, is look at the towels look at what was given, look at the markings of every indigenous person, every indigenous race.
That's right. Yeah, there's so many commonalities. Puna and I were having that conversation. It's funny because we were talking about the connections that, are communities have made. And there's a lot of stories that I've heard when I went to Aotearoa, right? What people call New Zealand, and talked to the people there, and how they basically say the same thing, like, oh no, we've had cultural exchanges. And there's so many people who just think that we're these ignorant savages
that didn't have anything, right?
They didn't have anything. Certainly not the ability to sell. Certainly not the ability to travel, to use the stars, to have an understanding of these really kind of dangerous ecosystems that we thrived in, right? Yeah. So it's pretty cool to be able to see all of our communities coming together. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the work that you guys have done, and how working in the PSR, being a part of this event, is a part of your vision.
Come on, give a little bit more. Go after. Well, for me, this is I still like to say it's still pretty new to me. I'm on the younger side of the generations. They were going over this. I'm probably one of the younger ones in the room. And it's an amazing experience. I simply started with charity work, the idea of helping the people around you, the people that you live with, that you broke bread with. It doesn't have to be just someone that's blood. It's the same person that you share in your neighborhood, the people you went to school with, whatever it is, and you're helping those that aren't necessarily asking for it, but that they need it. And that spoke to me so deep that I need to learn more. I need to figure out where I fit in there to do my part. Yeah. And as I met Kimo and I put more and more time into just like keep bugging him, like, hey man, like I know I'm just like this random little kid from the IE, but let me help you. Let me go do that, whatever it was. And then eventually I was able to break that barrier of like, can I come over? Show me what else you want to do? And that's when everything started to break open, and it was this huge, I don't want to say door, but like opportunity to do more for the people around us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's about, right? It's about,
yeah.
Doing for others. And that's, a big part of our value system is sharing, being community oriented, and giving back, right? And that's a big part of what you guys do.
Yeah, so I myself have started the journey long ago when it comes to the gift that was given to us, when it comes to healing. We kept it very quiet as Indigenous people that practice in the native ways and the spiritual healing. We're always told we don't really publicize it, but with PSR and Moved by Mana, it was a platform to really, I'm not the only one here. Yeah, I'm not the crazy one that, when you're out there in the physical world, people think, okay, you're talking crazy, right? And we actually, myself, and there's actually others in our organization, but they just choose not to, come out in front yet. It's finding that, fine-tuning that uncomfortable, that how they feel or what they were taught, right? So we tend to be the ones to come out and speak. But first PSR, we were there, and we were asked and we were led by Spirit to reach out to 4 people. 4 people we met, and it's beautiful to see that this year, within those groups that we met that first PSR, now we're building, one of those being Puna, right? So that also gave myself, that initiative to be like, okay, it's okay to come out, it's okay to share what we do, because there's a bigger picture, right? And I've been practicing since I was young, and we hide things, we talk to people, we do what we do. And there's also the backlash from our own community and our own people, which is, I find it inevitable. Like there's always going to be that fight, right? But if we have like-minded people that are trying to help the Indigenous race, we can all come together. So PSR is a big platform for us.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point. There's a lot of people who've asked me about, well, what exactly is PSR and why is this important? And there's so many components to this, right? But for me, wanting to be a part of this movement that the Pacific Savages have been pushing is really close to me because of the Indigenous aspect of it.
Correct.
Bringing our communities together, and doing it in a way that is truly reflective of who we are, right? Building relationships, respecting our elders and sharing our culture, being proud of who we are. But a big part of that as Indigenous people is that spiritual component. And I think that is something that a lot of us, maybe we're afraid to share.
Yeah.
We're afraid to share that.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Because of words like crazy, which
Yeah.
is really just a rude way.
Because we were called crazy.
Right.
We were
Yeah.
called crazy when we talked about how the land was alive and that everything is endowed with the spirit. These people came over here. The colonizer said, "Oh, you guys are mad. You guys, there's something wrong with your way of thinking," and they try to beat that out of us. And that's why I think so many people are afraid to maybe explore some of their spiritual gifts that they have, because there's been this movement in Hawaii, right here in the mainland, throughout Turtle Island, to really eradicate our indigenous spiritual ways. And we couldn't just practice our ways freely. And there's so many people out there who are reconnecting to their culture today. And I think who have these gifts, right? But because of colonialism, because we don't really have these outlets, it's been difficult for people to be able to share in that good way. And I think what you guys are doing is really super important. And it's good to meet people like you, but more importantly, man, I love to see the work that you guys are doing, because I know it's making a difference. And I feel like right now is the time. I feel like there's a lot of things changing, and people are craving a different outlook. They're craving a different way of seeing the world. And I think that's some of the things that you guys are trying to provide.
Oh yeah, it's very true. I think a lot of it came, of course, during COVID, where everyone's stuck in their house and social media was a big thing, and all these teaching of spirituality that happened. And as healers as we are, it was hard to see that, because we're not in touch with social media, but then we also saw the wrongdoings of these other quote unquote healers that are trying to teach the practices, right? And we know what happens when those things come about. But
For sure.
this, like I said, the PSR was one of the things that was a stand. Let's say this is a movement that is, yes, it's based by the MCs, but it's like Lupa, Mana, and Puna has created something for us to all come together and do something. A lot of us come from different backgrounds. Manda himself has worked, within the city and working with special needs children. I myself was a college professor within the medical field. And I think that's where the Western culture kind of pushed us to try to help the community. But I myself, being what we do, it's all the same, right? Yeah, we're professors and we have these certificates, but what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point,
I could chime in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Thank you for the accolades. I just want to touch on that a little bit, because the profound message that I walked away from when PSR was initially introduced to me was unity and carving out your own lane in the MC community. I don't ride. I will.
Yes.
I know about dirt bikes.
Alright.
This is a little
Alright.
different thing. I don't ride yet. But the unity piece has been something that I've led. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I've always had a talent for connecting people. And that's where my passion truly is. So long as the cause is greater than myself, I know I'll be successful. That'll always pass the failures, the stumbles, and this and that. But
Lessons.
Yeah.
and lessons, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk specifically about an experience that I got to witness with Kimo and Mondo after the first podcast that we did. I was going to go straight home, and something just kept nagging me. Just go to Blackie's house. Blackie is a Pu'upu for Malosi tribe, Pacific Savages. He was 5 minutes down the road from me. And I just kept getting this nagging feeling to just go to his house. And so on the way over there, I had already shared with you guys I was going to go straight home. So I start calling, and I called Eagle first. It went straight to voicemail. I called Chemo, and I told him, I was like, hey, let's just go hang out at Black's house. And so we get to Black's. I use this excuse that I have his extension cord. Yeah,
Love it.
Oh, okay, now I know.
You know, well, talking about hiding, right? It's like, how do I just tell them I just had this weird feeling. So Chemo gets there, and I'm sitting there and we're talking with Black. Chemo and Mondo pull up, and they sit down and they're talking with us before you came. And Liz, Blackie's wife, she's suffered some very recent tragic loss, and she came out of her house and she didn't know these two gentlemen, and being the queen of her castle, she introduced herself and asked them who they were, and Chemo was able to introduce himself, and then he kind of like put his head down, right? And then Mondo introduced himself, and then it just kind of fell flat. And so I look at Chemo, and he looks at me, he picks up his brim and he looks at me, and I was like, Brother, just tell her, just tell her who you are and what it is that you do. And so he began to explain what he has already shared here, that he is a healer, an educated veteran healer in the ancient ways. And that prompted her to share her grieving and how do I need help getting through this process. And what she found out was, even though she thought that specific loss was what she needed, what he received and shared with her about another loss was what lifted a lot of weight from her. So I thought that was really powerful to be able to bear witness to. And for me, that definitely meant, I was like, all right, he's a real dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just we're vessels, right? But it's never me. It's never me. I was just the vessel that was given, and we're vessels to what we're capable was given. The healings and the blessings that we're able to bring to each other. So I do believe that credit goes to her family, her ancestors, her Kupuna, and then at the same time, the lands here of her land that let us do the work, because everything has to be asked in the things that we do. So
Well
I do
said.
appreciate
Well
and
said.
taking time for me and the brothers and the other healers that in our group to start talking in this way and our names being brought up. But I do appreciate what you've seen, and I do realize like it takes this and PSR to start really moving, and we got to start taking charge of saying like, okay, it was Chemo, it was Mondo, it was indigenous Kiai that came, but just to let the viewers know, when we say this, it's not us, it's you guys, it's your family that has called us, and the people of these lands that have passed, and the people that are actually here now as your ancestors, that we're blessed to be able to do the work. So we thank you guys and your ancestors that we're allowed to do this.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a really interesting time where, we've moved around a lot, because of several different reasons. I mean, we live in a modern society, and, because of colonialism, we've been forced to relocate. But I think one of the positives of that is being able for us to come together, our communities being able to come together and share. And I can say, just being around both of you, you can feel whatever it is. Some people might just call it positivity. Some people might call it the mana, the power, right? But anyway, yeah, you guys, you could tell the intentions are in the right place. And you had mentioned earlier, like there's some people who abuse their power and they kind of misuse the culture, right? And that's something that I definitely have always taken a stance against. And it's really it's a shame because you guys are both kind of quiet about what you do, because that's kind of it's
instilled in us.
Yes, yeah, it's instilled in you, and it's kind of expected, right? But then but we need people like you also to be out there doing the good work and being able to talk to people who need whatever it is that you all have to offer, and being quiet and being in the backdrop, yes, that's, part of, being humble, but at the same time, like, we also need to know that you guys exist and you guys are there to help and to be able to share the things that our ancestors want us to share with one another. Our ancestors want us to be able to pass this on to the next generation. And it's really upsetting to me when just, I think the fact that so many people feel like they can't share, or they feel like they have to kind of hide, these gifts that people have. Yeah.
It's a shame too, because most healers, most spiritual people, they're existing in two places at once. And I think it's really important what Kimo said about having that connection to our land. This is true with Native Americans too. And I'm hoping that with this starvation for culture that everyone's kind of seeking, that's something that we can put out there as an education piece, like the ancient Polynesian view with seafaring was the world around us existed so that we could move through it, using the stars, using the waves, using the color of the clouds, everything in the world around us through observation, right?
Absolutely.
And time. The ancient Polynesian view is everything is on purpose and it's here for us. And so long as we stay connected to it and connect to each other, then we can exist in a peaceful and meaningful way.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I think you said it perfectly. And, with events like the PSR, it's a chance for us to be able to grow our relationships and to learn from one another.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, that's one thing I feel like, man, I feel so lucky because, I know a lot about my culture, but it's really cool because I've been educated by you. Both of you have educated me just recently, and I've just learned so much in the last couple of years. And it really does, make me feel like the things that we do, our culture, our spiritual practices are really necessary for our survival.
No, very true, very true. And I as yourself as a professor, right? We grow up on these lands and we follow what society taught us. Go to school, go to college. But as time went on, I figured, there's a reason why we took these positions as professors. Yeah, we saw it as the college and the people getting a degree, but we had a calling that was more meaningful. Maybe it took time to realize, but the time's now. And the time, like you said, it's the time to speak up. It's the time not to hide, behind the curtain. And like you said, be humble that, yeah, that's what we were taught. And it is a learning experience for all of us and the rest of the healers within our organization. And, with Move by Mana and the PSR, that this is the platform. And for anybody listening, I do believe that everyone has a gift to help others. But how do we tap into that gift? And that's what, Professor V, all of us here within Indigenous County, Move by Mana, we hope the PSR brings you to the event. And it's a sanctuary. In essence, it's a sanctuary. We're having ceremony. We're bringing people from all over that might not even leave their house, but is going to hear this podcast and say, hey, I need to be there.
Absolutely. I like how you said that. I like how you said it, though, because it is a ceremony. I mean, it is. And, it's a bunch of bikers, yes, coming together, a bunch of wild guys and our families who want to come and have a good time. But this is what we've done since time immemorial, right? To come together and to be able to share the mana, to be able to share an experience together and have a good time, and to, maybe heal a little bit. And I think that's a big part of why these gatherings are important, because they are healing. I mean, I can't tell you like how many times I've come home from some of the events that we do, and I bring with me like all this really good energy. That maybe that's how I just would describe it. are how maybe my elders have said, these good blessings, right? You get to bring those home and you share them with your family, you share them with your friends, you share them with your students, you share them with the people that you're trying to help. And that's really what it's all about.
Very true.
Yeah.
I was going to add in, to what you're saying, like, this is the time, the moment to really come out and either just to learn for the first time or to experience the people that are part of this movement. But we have to remember that anyone that's wanting to come out here, that we're all here to protect one another. So if you feel like you're scared or anything like that, this is the place that you're going to come out to. You don't have to be looking over your shoulders. You don't have to watch what you say, speak whatever comes out of your from your thoughts, from your feelings, that ancestor speaking through you. Like anything, any way you want to see it.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna have to edit that out. Yeah, let's run that back here. I'm gonna have to edit that. I'll edit that out later. You never know. Whenever you do a live podcast, you never know, what's gonna happen here. Things come up. So it does. It keeps me on my toes. Keeps me on my toes.
Sometimes you say, thinking about it, it's like something's trying to stop us or something's trying to come in between when something great's happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right. So I just want you to kind of continue what you were saying there, if you can.
That's another fun part, is that once you talk, like that's like that one trial run and that's it. So now I just was touching on that. Anyone that wants to come out, they have any type of interest, any type of curiosity, whatever you want to call it, just come in to enjoy the event. Talk to the people, talk to us, to Puna, to Dr. B. It's gonna be like this cultural explosion of whether it's knowledge or a teaching, whatever you want to take it as. And like you said, you can go back home, take those blessings with you, or you come here and you heals, or you want to work with us because this is a platform that's protecting all those that are coming around us. Like you said, we're gonna have a bunch of bikers. What are you worried about? They're all gonna get a right out for us.
Right.
Even skeptics.
Yeah.
Even skeptics. We're not here to hide. We're here to answer questions. That's
And like Chino Man was saying earlier, these are gentlemen's clubs. So the foundation of that is you come as a boy and you leave as a man. It's not for everybody, like a lot of the gentlemen said tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna get a mosh posh of motorcyclists, car enthusiasts, arts and crafts, music. You'll be overwhelmed with culture.
Yeah, but I like what you said, Mondo, about being able to come up to us and talk, to share a conversation. And I guess that's kind of what I want people to know, even just about me personally, is that, look, I'm willing to talk to you. Like, don't be afraid to talk to me. And in fact, I love it, right? When somebody comes up to me and says, hey, can we talk for a moment? And, they share something, I get to share something. That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. Yeah. And so that's a chance for us. PSR is an opportunity for us to be able to do that, to be able to share with one another. And, that's why I tell all, everybody, like, man, you're going to have a good time. You're going to be able to really have a lot of fun, because you're going to meet a lot of interesting people. You're going to eat a lot of good food, obviously, right? There's a little bit of something at the PSR for everybody. But one of the best things that I get from events like this is just being able to share good conversation. And like you were saying, get those good blessings. Yeah.
Definitely. Just to piggyback off that, it's you mentioned earlier, you saw our organization on social media, right? And yeah, my personal social media is open, and I post a lot of crazy stuff, right? Why do I post that? It's to engage, right? There's a reason. There's somebody out there looking for something, but no one's going to talk to us if they're like, well, I think that person's only like this. So our social media, you could see what you see, you could think what you think, but like Dr. B felt it. He knew there's something that's gonna happen where I'm gonna meet this group of people that's running this organization. Same thing with Puna, and it's like, okay, only get so much, but said Dr. B, please get to know who we are, get to know who we're about. Social media only gets us so far. It's the engagement with the world to see who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when Puna said I was going to have the opportunity to sit and talk with you, I was like really excited. I was like, man, this is a trip, because I was thinking in my head, I was like, dang, man, I was just like, you know what? Like, I've been thinking about you all, and I've been seeing you, seeing you guys do a little bit of your work. Again, what you see on social media, sometimes you don't
read in between the lines sometimes, right?
Exactly. It's not, sometimes it's not, what you think, or sometimes you don't understand, but whatever it was, I just kind of knew. I was like, man, I'm gonna meet these guys someday. And yeah, you guys certainly didn't disappoint. Like, it was just a pleasure to get to talk with you. And when Puna was saying, when she said you guys are going to hang out with us over the weekend, man, it made me really happy. So
we're blessed.
yeah, seriously. Yeah. And I really hope that, obviously the PSR, that's our focus for the podcast today. We want to talk about the PSR. We want to promote it. It's June 17th. It's going to start at 12 noon. It's going to go till 5 p.m. A bunch of cultural activities, a bunch of cool bikers. Obviously, I mean, there's a lot going on here, but the big component to this is our indigenous cultures, right? Together, being able to have our own lane, being able, all the things that we were told we couldn't do for all these decades and hundreds of years, we're just now openly being who we are.
Right, exactly. Like, we've been, fortunate to have, to be blessed now, wanting, I guess, as a physical sense, to be in touch with the indigenous cultures, the island bike sets, with PSR, but we've been doing this for many years. We've been blessed from Vegas Valley all the way out here to South Central with different clubs that support what we do, cuts aside, colors aside, and understand what we're doing. And that's been a blessing, but I feel like now it's even more, because we're in touch with our own group of people and the island bike set, the indigenous bike sets.
Yeah.
I think the first podcast, you and I, when we were sharing feedback, you had said that you saw how necessary each one of the clubs
Yes.
and our riders,
Right.
are in this atmosphere. And I just want to tap into that real quick. For me personally, the Kanaka Hakilis, they bring a lot of aloha. They bring a lot of love. It's undeniable.
Oh yeah.
Events.
Oh yeah. Shout out Uncle Ricky.
Yes, Uncle Ricky, man. I felt so good just being around him. Like, oh man, it was a good day. And I know that, we're audio, but the energy and the conversation that we had and what we shared, yes, it's about doing the podcast, but there was what I'm saying? It felt good. I went home feeling really, really good.
I almost made an apology reel. I actually did, but then I took it down twice. Because I felt like even though the audio was bad, what we were trying to do was transferring, the actual atmosphere of the podcast and the unity, which is what the event is about. Even though that didn't happen online, I still felt it in the moment.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Absolutely 100%. And, and so when, like I said, when Puna said I was going to have the opportunity to do it again with y'all, I was really stoked. Yeah, I was really, really stoked. So, and, anytime, like I said, the 7th Generation podcast, what I like to do with the work that I'm doing is really to be able to bring the voices to whoever out there is listening to this, whatever individual who stumbles across the 7th Generation podcast. I want them to listen to something that's really interesting and something that's really different and authentic. Yeah, authentic. And that's what both of you bring, is that authenticity. And, if those of you who are listening, to the podcast, if you could just be in the room with these gentlemen, you would understand what I'm saying. and just a lot of compassion, and a lot of love. Like you guys just represent the things that I always tell people, like we need more of these things. We need more compassion. We need to convey that, not with your words. You don't do that with your words. You guys convey that with how you are, just like your beings, and your spirit. That's it's really good shit, man. It's really good shit.
All the spirit that's around us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blessing, definitely.
No doubt. Yeah. And so we need more of that. And, and like you were saying, is that there's a lot of people out there like yourselves, who may want to reach out to you and talk to you more about some of these things. So how can people go about doing that?
So we do have our social media platforms on Instagram. It's at indigenous_Kiai. You can always send us a DM, comment on pictures, whatever it is. We're more than happy to meet with you in person. It doesn't. Everyone has this finite idea that anything that happens on a social media platform, like that's the only way to engage. We're all over California, across the country, like we're everywhere, across in the islands. Like it takes that one phone call, that one message, just reach out to us.
Yeah. So you guys are open for people to reach out to you. This is what you're looking for.
We love it. Like I said, you see what you see on social media, but reach out. Our Indigenous Kiai page on Instagram. We'll try to start getting on Facebook. We're kind of new to the whole, like I said, the whole social media and really putting us out there. But even myself, our pages are open. Send us a message. We'll be glad to speak with you. It doesn't matter where you are. We have people all over. We have become, now we're learning to become a face, but yes, we are worldwide. We have others that are healing all over the world, and we could put you in touch, or if it's us personally, we're there to help. And we've got to, we, on this physical sense, we give thanks to a lot of things that we've done, and there's a lot more that we do besides when you talk about the healing, and that's a lot would have to do with the missing and murdered Indigenous women, or the MMIP, and like I said, we've been blessed with, from Vegas Valley to South Central to have this backing that helps us push this movement. And yeah, it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. I do have to give a shout out to, it's kind of a thing, but Shark Squad has helped us, back us in the things that we do.
Yeah.
And if you could kind of read between the lines of what I'm saying, they've really been there. And, we're just hoping with PSR, now it's a bigger movement that people know there's help. If you're listening to this and you think you're stuck or you're not being heard, no, reach out.
Yeah. And there is, you're right. There's just like so much trauma that our people have experienced, right? And there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And you'd mentioned the MMIW movement. I know that, you've been involved with helping protect our sacred places. This truly is an indigenous movement. It's about really protecting what's sacred, but also healing some of the wounds of the past. And I think that's really where really need that help because of colonialism, because of just all this trauma, whether it's the boarding school system or whether it's, dealing with these settler colonial governments trying to strip us of our rights, trying to strip us of the sovereign, trying to get back, right? And then just the personal struggles that we have, and we need people like you to help us, kind of get us going in that right direction. And I think that's kind of the missing piece of this puzzle right here,
Right. And like I said, it took PSR and Puna to put all this together, and we're thankful for that. We're blessed for having you do the podcast and really let us voice on what we do. And like I said, we're learning, but together really make a difference. Like you said, there's different things going on out there, and people are struggling, and we're here to help. And like I said, not just in that spiritual sense, but really that physical help that no one wants to talk about. And
that's right.
It's a real connection. It's a real thing that's happening. And I could get into that, but it's there's so much that's going on in this world, and society breaks us apart.
Yep.
And we got to look past that. Look really past that and just start to help one another. Like like just like our indigenous ancestors did for one another back then.
Yeah. I think that's, part of the destruction of our cultures. It's a lot of it is about dividing us, right? Keeping us from being able to share with one another, to do the things that we're going to do with the PSR. And I don't want to get too deep on it, but I do see it in that way, that this is a chance for us to be able to make a move against the structure that was really meant to stop us from being able to share, from being able to put our own events together, being able to be proud of who we are, but also be able to conduct our business in a way that is reflective of our value system, right? Yeah.
Correct.
You just reminded me of that first PSR meeting that I got to participate in. There was a woman who's nowhere that spoke at that meeting, and what he said, I'm paraphrasing of course, but what he said was, when he was a Samoan man, when he moved from Hawaii, born and raised, to Northern California, he got his bike and he was riding and just living his life. Thought he could be the happy-go-lucky guy that he was on the islands here. And he shared a story where he was recruited under violence, and he learned really quickly that aloha changed instantly. He knew that I wasn't here, and when the 80 gentlemen that were in the room of different motorcycle clubs were listening to a story, you could see that you could have heard a pin drop with that story, because he continued to say that this movement, the Pacific Sovereignty Run, what it really means is you have to protect it. Aloha is not a place, it's a people.
Yeah.
And when I heard that's what sold me. I was like, oh my God, this is what we've been going through. Everyone, as far as being unoppressed people, whatever nationality that looks like, whatever ethnic that looks like, it's another form of oppression.
Absolutely.
So that's what sold me. I left that feeling, like I said earlier, I left that feeling like I was going to be of service in this way. And I knew that I didn't necessarily have to ride a bike to do it. I knew that I could just bring, whatever it is that I do, and keep doing it and learn and grow and just keep building on this one message that was so clear. Aloha's not here. You got to protect it. Aloha's people.
Man, that's a powerful story right there.
Yeah,
really,
that's why I'm
really.
here.
It's super powerful.
And
that
I'll be here next year.
this term, it wasn't just chosen because of whatever. No. Sovereignty, right? Being able to be free, to be who we are, to be open with, the gifts that we have, to be able to share our culture together, to be able to express our aloha and be around others who are wanting to do that as well. And man, it's been a long time coming, right? To be able to do events like this that are real, that are authentic, that are a true reflection of who we are. It's always been where we have to kind of, find a way to make it, to just survive in the world. And now I think we're moving past just this moment in time where we're just trying to survive and make it to where now new things are beginning to open up. And I know still there's a lot of suffering out there, and there's a lot of people who are struggling by all means, but there's more and more people like yourselves, like you, Puna, who want to put together these events. And I just see that there's just things that are changing in a positive way. You see some really good things moving around. I think we're living in a really special time where we can even do something like this, where we can come together and we can podcast, and we can talk about these issues, and we can share with so many people. I mean, it's really incredible.
No, it really is. Even myself and us and the rest of the guys, within our organization, And I even brought it to Puna. I said, what is this, the term sovereignty, right? Because from where we were looking at it, sovereignty is, we understand it as one way. And when I really got the message of what the Savages did within the MC community to stand to have this event for us, it is sovereignty. And we stand by it. Yes, we questioned it at first. We're like, can we get a better understanding? Like, why is this used this way? Well, I'm not understanding it. And when Puna sat us down and sat even myself down with some others, and they really told their story, that's when it hit. And we shared that with our group and our people. And, a lot of them had a different understanding of it. They were against it. But when we sat down and really got that true meaning, and we were blessed to be brought in for you guys, for the Savages to share their story, that was when we really understood this Pacific sovereignty run. And it's something that we need, I guess, for our generation, or the now. And we're creating sovereignty, a stand for what we believe in, a stand for what the Island Bike Sets did, to stand for who they are and what they show and what they're about. So yeah, we do stand by this as the sovereignty, and we're just really blessed to really be a part of this right now. It's a huge movement.
Yeah.
I think the flyer, it shows the participation of the motorcycle clubs, which is only 4 this time around, and this is our 3rd event. I think that's a testament to how difficult this will be. And what I mean is, last year, the very first one that we did in SoCal, there was 11 motorcycle clubs and riding chapters. In NorCal, there was maybe 13 or 14. And this year there's 4. And these 4 clubs, I can attest to, being able to work with all 4 of them, the Pacific Savages, the Kanaka Kilis, the Section 8 in SoCal, and Kaikuana, all 4 of them understand and have brought a different element to the MC community for the island, island bike set. And I'm hoping to see more clubs, get back into the picture, because it is a powerful movement. The motorcycle community and the Polynesian community is an amazing vessel to have.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, only for this year. I hope we'll watch this and hear the podcast that you've given us the platform to share what's in your community, and say, hey, you know what? I want to get on board with this. Whether it's in the capacity of joining one of these gentlemen's clubs, or in the capacity of showcasing your business as a vendor, supporting the event as a sponsor, or just bringing your,
and having a good time, right? Just coming out and having a good time, and being able to, take a break from the stress of life. And I think that's something that man, like I always try to tell people, and maybe we talked about this before, I don't remember, but one of the best ways to decolonize is just allow yourself to have a good time and enjoy your life, even if it's for a moment. And that's what the Pacific sovereignty is, I think, for a lot of us, just chance for us to just kind of let ourselves be who we are in a comfortable and let it go. Yeah. We're not trying to hide who we are. A bunch of islanders, a bunch of natives together, being free to practice our culture, right? Without having somebody, telling us we're doing something wrong. That's a beautiful thing.
I go back, and it's like, as Kanye, as men, right? This is a big thing for the men, the MCs, right? Sometimes you gotta let go, and sometimes you gotta relax, and sometimes you need a shoulder to lay on. Sometimes you need to just let out and cry. And this is that time, because if we're not letting go, and whatever you're feeling here now in your gut feeling, right? Sometimes men, we hold that in, but in reality, even before in the practices, we have to release. We have to let a place where we can release and reset. And Pacific sovereignty is a big thing that I feel that all these men could release and reset their lives, whether it be having a good time with their family, with their kids, or maybe speaking to Dr. B, myself with Indigenous Guy with Move My Mana, just reaching out and letting go whatever it is. Everyone as healers, we're there to take it in and really help one another. We need a place to reset. And it goes back to ceremony, right? I do believe that this is a ceremony that we're creating for people to come in and reset their lives, and reset their thoughts, their values, the questions that they have, the heartache that they're feeling. And so I think it's a great thing that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you just want to go through, the date and the place and all that. I want to give people the vital information. Again, this is the PSR 2023, Saturday, June 17th, Elks Lodge, 7212 Melrose Street. It starts at 12 noon. It's going to go to 5 p.m. We're going to have a bike blessing, a kava ceremony. We're going to have MC war games. Obviously, a lot of really cool vendors are coming out, right? Some great food. It's free. It's a free event where you don't have to cut. You're not there. Exactly. You just come.
Free, there's going to be over $10,000 worth of prizes for
$10,000 worth of prizes for the
Family and
kids.
Kids Foundation is sponsoring our Kiki Corner, which is the kids' corner. There'll be game booths. Kids win games for really cheap prices and go and get their free.
So your
prizes.
family, your ohana, bring them out, have a good time. This is really a chance for us to, again, be able to share our culture, let our hair down a little bit, right?
That's right.
Wild out a little bit if that's your thing, and just enjoy a family friendly event. And you're right, Puna. We only have 4 clubs here, but the power with these clubs coming together is really significant, really important.
It really is.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a lot of other clubs that show up. Obviously brothers are going to be coming in from all over. Our families are going to be coming in from all over. So this is going to be an absolutely outstanding event. If you're in the SoCal area or anywhere close by, again, this is on a Saturday, June 17th, where we are now just 7 days away. Are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
We're ready. And there's a lot
Might
of
not know
raffles. There's
this,
a lot of
but I've been-
raffles, correct, sis?
Yes,
There's a lot of
lots
raffles.
Been at this for 9 months, if you can believe it.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into these events, and that's one thing that I think being an event planner, you have all this work that you have to do.
And then on event day, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, you just want
Just
to
kinda
kinda hide, we're just
have
kinda
fun.
like-
Yeah. Change my
Yeah.
clothes like 3 times so people can't track me down.
But it's there's a lot that goes into this, and so I just have a lot of appreciation for the work that you do, and bringing us together, because that's not an easy thing to do, right? It's not an easy thing to do, and that's something that you've done. You've brought a lot of people together, and you may not know it, but man, I mean, there's a lot of relationships that are going to be developed, and who knows what's going to come from that, right? Well, the things that we're going to do together in the future. And that's a very powerful thing. And that's another reason why these events are important. And that's the reason why I love to do the podcast and to be able to share with people that there's individuals out there that are out there in the community doing the good work, because this is a lot of hard work to do this.
A lot.
A lot of hard work.
I have a lot of help.
Yes.
We never sleep, yeah.
Yes.
We never sleep.
What's
No, I
that?
just want to say, come see what we have to offer. Come see the different raffles. I'll talk about one of them real quick. We are gonna, as Indigenous Kiai, we are gonna showcase it's a tap, which is, everyone knows it's a traditional type of tattooing, but we also give it as a blessing. There's more meaning to the actual tattoo and what happens with it. And for everyone's like, well, I'm not that interested yet. Well, guess what? SoCal Armory's coming out, and we're gonna be raffling off some good stuff. So if that interests you, come out for that. There's gonna be a bunch of different raffles.
Man, absolutely. And just to be able to learn a little bit about these different cultures. I mean, come on, man, that's exciting. That's the good stuff right there. It's the good stuff. And it's us being able to, again, share our cultures, right? Something that we haven't been able to do. There's been people telling us forever, oh, leave that behind. That's not important any longer. You live in a modern world. Well, this is what makes us truly who we are, right? And without these events, without doing these ceremonies, so much of our identity is stripped from us. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, real quick on,
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
bike blessing.
Absolutely.
The bike blessing and the kava ceremony is actually going to start at 11. And then we will open to the public at 12.
Okay, so the
all
kava
riders are
ceremony
welcome.
and the bike blessing is
Yes,
starting an
it starts
hour
at 11.
earlier. Yeah.
All
11
riders
o'clock.
are welcome.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
11
Not
o'clock.
island time.
No, not
No
like
island.
tonight.
Yeah,
No,
right
no Indian time.
You gotta let the
Hey,
let
island
everybody
time and native
know.
time together. It's whenever we get there.
11
So,
o'clock.
so we're not going to be on any island time or Indian time. This thing is actually going off at 11 a.m. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I love
TAC
it.
will be there.
TAC will be
yeah,
there. Oh, then
so
yeah,
he's
for
gonna
sure. So TAC will make sure
Sorry,
that.
whole situation.
That's right. That's right. We got a lot of great people who done a lot of hard work putting this event together, and man, I can't wait because it's going to be a good time. But I want to let you all be able to say, whatever it is that you want to say here. I mean, it could be about the PSR, it could be about your organization, whatever. Obviously, I'm going to, put this out there. Anybody around the world will be able to listen to this. So who knows who it might be. So it's an opportunity for y'all to say, kind of, whatever it is, whatever message you want to put out there.
There's a little part that I want to I don't want to say reiterate, it's kind of like piggyback off of. I've only noticed it just from my personal experience that some people misinterpret the languages that we use. So they hear aloha, they hear kane, they hear whatever it is, and they think it's being directed just from the island cultures, and it's like, well, no, it's just that's who's doing the work. So that's the language that we have to communicate with. That's how we talk to one another. And even me, like I have not a drip of blood from the Hawaiian Islands, from Samoa, Tonga, whatever it is you want to say, but I would do anything for my brother here. And same thing that, for my sister Puna, for you, Dr. B, for our brothers from Pacific Savages.
Man, thank you for saying that.
It's a reminder that just because you hear these languages, it doesn't mean that you're on the, there's not a barrier.
That's right.
It's just that you come in to learn. For me, I have Spanish.
That's right.
So tengo mi hermano aquí. So it's, my brother, my hermano, and he teaches me part of his languages, whether it's Tagalog from the Filipino side or Hawaiian, and it's an amazing experience. Come to find out, today is the first time I've heard him speak Spanish, and I got to get on him.
I know, man. I was like, dang, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I don't know, Mondo, you may have a different view.
And that's another good point, is where it's like, yeah, everyone has their views, but you come here, there shouldn't be a judgment, right? If you want to try something, go for it. That's how we work together, is that you come in with the curiosity, with the questions. We do our best to try to interpret the knowledge that we have to give you, and for all we know, that's something that we're going to learn from you in order to broaden our paths that we need to follow through with PSR.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you said that, because I relate to so much to what you just said right here, because I'm not an islander. I'm like this super proud Pacific Savage, and I love the motorcycle club that I'm a part of. And one of the reasons why I love it is because they brought me in. I'm not from the islands, right? And yet they brought me in as a brother and have taught me so much about their culture, and I've been able to share, my culture, and just breaking down those barriers and being able to share with just so many amazing people. It's just really been a beautiful experience. It really, really is. And I'm glad that you said that, because that's exactly how I feel about this organization. People ask me all the time, well, do you feel weird about the fact that you wear, an insignia that doesn't really represent where your ancestors come from? Right. And I thought about that for a long time. I really, really did. And now I hold that toko so dear to me. Right. And going back to what you were saying earlier about, what we had, what the Pacific had to do, the stance that they had to take to be able to get to us to the point where we could do something like this, and then to allow myself to be able to share in that. Oh man, that's beautiful.
Exactly.
That's really, really beautiful. And And that's why I always tell people, that's why I love this club so much, yeah. And what we do, and the fact that, the people are so accepting. And, Brett had talked about it earlier in the podcast that we did, how that we get to
Such
shoot.
a good job.
I know he get to, I was very, really proud of all of them and how we get to share our cultures with one another. And I think that's just really, really, it's an important part of this movement. It's a super, super important part of this movement because we're able to support one another. We're able to support each other. And I think that is, man, it's something that we really need in these times, in these crazy times. So, yeah, a message you want to share?
No, I'm just, blessings to everybody, and we're grateful to be a part of this. And to anyone listening, like we said, this is a time for you guys to come out. This is a time for you guys to be who you are. Don't hide, whether it be you're feeling something or you're just trying to look for the brotherhood or even a sisterhood. We have brothers and sisters that are going to be there. This is somewhere where you could come out. It's a safe place. It's a sanctuary. And we're here to help you guys. As Indigenous Kiai, we're here for everybody else. We're here to do the work that we were gifted with and we were blessed to have and be blessed to be able to share on these lands. And just come out. And PSR it's such, until you're there. When I was the first time that I went there, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. But until you're there and you really talk to the people, don't judge people for what you see, or if you're driving by and you're like,
right.
Oh, I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop. I see all these guys in cuts and tattoos and whatnot. No, you're never going to know who we are and what this movement is about until you come in. And I guarantee you step foot and you say, you know what? I don't know what this is about. I don't come from an MC world. I'm just a person that heard, the podcast from Dr. V, but something pulled me here. Talk to anybody and they're going to point you in the right direction. This is an open and safe place for everybody. PSR holds dearly in our hearts and what we're doing here with Move by Mana.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfectly said. It is a safe place for us to come and to be able to do our thing. And there's not many places like that, right? There isn't. And we need to create more of them. And that's why the movement is so important. That's why I believe in the movement. And, like I said, I get asked that question all the time. Like people are like, what is it about, what is it about this that you're so fond of and you're so protective of? And it's because I see the people behind the movement and what they do, the work that they do. And they're not out there being boastful about it. They're not out there trying to get attention. They're not out there trying to say, hey, look at me. And they're not out there trying to line their pockets. This is really about our communities and it's about our culture. And that's like put out there first and foremost. And I talk to the brothers. I try to talk to other people and ask them, especially people who've been, a part of, Pacific Savages, or just talking to Ricky on the side and just asking him, why this is important to him. And man, just like some of the stories that they share and just like their life experiences. And then for us to be able to do this today, that's just really something else. Really, really is. And you're right. All these different clubs and organizations that are a part of it, they all have their place, and
They all have their place.
they're all incredible in some way. That's something that I think that I learned that weekend. Even though I wasn't very happy with the audio, man, one thing I did learn, I was like, man, there is all of what everybody is doing is important. It's all important. Everybody has their role, and it really opened my eyes in a good, really, really good way. So that was really, really cool. And that's why I was so enthusiastic about wanting to come back here and do it again, do it again.
Thank you
So
so
we were
much.
sad and I can have us be able to speak again, and I hope this is not just the last.
Definitely not.
Keep reaching out to people and
Really
share.
second First Amendment.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing, my thing is like, it's not about me. It's not about, whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve in life. It's not about that. It's really, I just want to share as much about the amazing people that I get to meet, right? the amazing organizations out there doing the hard work. I really just want the opportunity to be able to say, look at these people because they're incredible, and look at the work that they're doing.
Yes.
And that's what the 7th Generation podcast was always, supposed to be about is, we're trying to do something today so that way we can make it a little bit better for the generations down the road. That's the whole idea. And having these conversations and being able to come together and being able to share, that's something that I really do cherish. I cherish these moments, these opportunities. And, I hope that, we could all continue to work together. And, I know that there's things I would love to do and involve you all in. And I know that the hard work that Puna puts into her events and all of her knowledge and all of your ability to bring different personalities together, which is a very, very powerful skill, right? It's a very powerful skill, and to deal with all the different unique personalities that are different. Yeah. You're the perfect person for the job to do this. So I hope that, we appreciate the work that you do,
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
I appreciate you guys sharing the vision.
Yeah.
I've grown from it.
Yeah.
And
We
I've
all
been
have.
inspired from it.
All of us have. Yeah.
Hope to keep that going.
Yeah. And, the work that we all do, it's important. It really, really is. And there's people out there who appreciate it. And there's people out there who are looking for our organizations, our respective organizations. And, we're here for you. Just come out, man. Just reach out, man. We'll reach out back.
Exactly. We're, like I said, we're very grateful. And, Blue by Mine, Puna herself is fulfilling her kuleana in what we have to do in this generation.
That's right. That's right. So we make it better for the next generation, 7 generations down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. B. for putting down through Fresno
Absolutely.
to do this again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, this is fun for me. It's an exciting thing to be able to sit and talk to incredible people, to be able to allow you all to be able to share with whoever might be listening to this. And I feel like what we do every single day in our lives, reaching out to our communities, becomes kind of second nature. But I think sometimes we need to kind of sit back and realize too that, not a lot of people do the work that you guys are doing and do the work that you're doing, Puna. And so you should also, reflect on that for a moment and be really proud of yourselves and the things that you're accomplishing, because it's changing people's lives in a really, really good way. And you're doing it in a way that's fun, in a way that we can smile and have a good time and laugh and joke around and eat good food. All the things that we did, all the things that made us happy and made our communities whole and kept us balanced. That's what it's all about. Yeah. All right. So that's it. The PSR, the Pacific Sovereignty Run, Saturday, June 17th, bike blessing at 11 o'clock sharp. We're going to have a kava ceremony. The event kicks off to the public at 12 noon. Again, this is at the Elks Lodge, 7212 Melrose Street, Buena Park, California. Come out and meet all these amazing people. We got all these incredible vendors. There's going to be a lot of really cool raffle prizes, and you're going to meet some incredible people. Again, this is more than just a biker event. So if you ride, obviously you're invited. But if you just want to bring your family out and have a good time, we are more than welcome you to join the family and to have a good time and share in this really incredible event. So that'll do it for now. The 7 Generation Podcast. Until next time, this is Dr. B. Peace.
Yes.